Hello everyone, it's Patty here for another Thursday art tutorial, and this time we're doing this little cat. So as you join in, please tell me where you're listening from. If you're a classroom teacher, if you're an art teacher, I always love to know because it helps me kind of talk to you and answer your questions throughout the tutorial. So how y'all doing today? Are you starting to do, this is what I want to know, are you starting to do Halloween projects? Or even a better question, are you allowed to do Halloween projects? Hi Christy, hi Jessica. Because when I was a teacher, an art teacher, we weren't allowed to do Halloween projects, or at least something that kind of had a Halloween feel. We're going to be talking about the EPIC curriculum, in particular value today, and I'm asking about Halloween and Day of the Dead because some of you may have been like me, and I really couldn't do witches or anything too spooky. I was allowed to get away with some funny face pumpkins, but that's about it for Halloween. I was allowed to do Day of the Dead, which was awesome because it wasn't really Halloween focused. But for anyone who can't do Halloween projects, this might be the perfect project for you. So not only, hi Rachel, hi Kathy, not only is it awesome to teach the elements of art, in particular value, but it's super fun for the kids because number one, it's easy. It's so easy. And then to draw the cat, and then all you need is black paint and white paint, and children can experiment with creating value. Now, for anyone who is a newsletter subscriber, you don't have to send your, you don't have to click that form again. You already received this as a download in your email today. So if you're a newsletter subscriber, open up the email, download. There's a couple of handouts for you. So download both and you'll get this one. This one is a little bit special for all you new folks out there. Hi Virginia, hi Jessica. So this one has that little mini poster. So if you are just joining me for the first time this week, this is the 6th tutorial that I've been talking about the elements of art and the principles of design. Hi Archana. And today we're going to be doing value, but in the past I've done line and pattern, I've done shape, color, I've done contrast and emphasis, and then last week was movement and rhythm. Today is value, and each one of these videos has a handout, and each handout has a little poster that you can print out and put in your classroom. If you're a sparkler, you already have these. These are in your bundle guides. Hi Elise. Hi Maria. Maria, are you going to be doing art today? I wonder how old you are, Maria. Can you let me know? Oh, she's in 4th grade. So you must be 9 years old. Am I about right? If so, you're going to love this cat, so you can join in. I'm super happy that you're here, Maria. Okay, and you let me know if you like this project or not, okay? Is it a deal? Okay, good. So for the teachers out there, this is a collection of posters for you. Sparklers already have this, but this one is also a little exercise. I know it's kind of hard to see, but there's little places where kids can paint and add color and like make tints and shades. So basically, all value is the lightness or the darkness of a color. And you can create value by adding white or black to a color. So for instance, if you have some red paint and you add a little bit of white to the paint and you mix it up, you're going to get pink. And that's called a tint. And if you take the same red paint and add a little bit of black paint and mix it up, you're going to get a shade. So it looks more like burgundy. And this is like one of the easiest ways. Number one, I think it's the most beautiful way to paint because adding white to any amount of white to a color just makes it pop. And then adding black, it just deepens it and enriches the painting. So it really adds a lot of nuances. Hi, Jessica. Okay, you have to go get ballet shoes for your daughter. You'll be back. Okay, Jessica, we'll see you later. I want ballet shoes. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing is showing you how to pare down that tints and shade thing to the barest bones, because we're going to be using black and white. And we're going to create this little cat. And I'm going to show you just how simple this little cat is. So we're going to, you can glue it onto black paper if you want to, and you can also cut it out. But come on, look at this little kitty. I just love it. I have a similar lesson on Deep Space Sparkle. It was called, it was inspired by my friend who runs the blog Paintbrush Rocket. And I just forgot her name. Like, I literally just went blank. Oh my gosh, Jenny? No, I literally drew a blank. I think there's something wrong with me. Paintbrush Rocket. I'll think of it in a second. It's like not knowing my own name. She's amazing. She's awesome. I love her to death. She kind of created this lesson plan based on Laurel Birch. And so I took it and kind of ran with it and created my own little kitty cat. So this is just black and white paint, and then we drew it with oil pastels, and then we're gonna outline it. Now, there was a sparkler today. I think I'll put this guy over here. Okay, hold on. In our sparkler Facebook group, there was a gal, I think it was Emily, and she asked me, Patty, she was asking me about some gold paint. Like, she doesn't have gold paint, she wants to buy some, and she wasn't sure what type of brand to buy. So I thought I would show you guys how you can embellish that cat even more, kind of glam him up a little bit. And Maria, you might like this. So if you have some gold liquid tempera paint at home, or you might have some oil pastels. These are gold metallic oil pastels, super creamy. You can use these to kind of add a whole new level to the cat. Now, this metallic paint is by Sargent, and I have to say, it's my favorite metallic paint. Crayola, and I don't know about this, but Crayola used to make a metallic paint, gold, rose, and like a turquoise. I loved it, but I can't for the life of me find it anymore. It's almost like something happened and then they just stopped producing it. I could be wrong, so if there's anyone out there, Ginger, it's Ginger. Thank you, Archana. Ginger Bowerman Pacer. I'm so sorry, Ginger. I'm so sorry. She's the loveliest lady. That you should check out her blog. She does middle school lessons as well, so she's amazing. So anyways, that's where I got the lesson. But back to the gold paint. I love the Sargent, and Crayola used to make some, and I used to love that too, but I can't find it anymore. So if you have access to the Crayola metallic paint, definitely get it, because they come in nice big jugs and they're really good. But if you can't, get these. Now, the surprising thing about the metallic paints is that when they go on, they don't actually look like they're creating much of a fuss. They're kind of transparent, they're kind of slimy, and you're like, what's the big deal with these? But once they dry a little bit, you're like, oh, look at that. That looks really good. And so you kind of have to be patient with them. If you don't have metallic paints, and this is not a requirement for this particular lesson, it's just a way to embellish it. Use the little oil pastels, and these are also from Sargent. I believe they say Gallery. Maybe it's Gallery brand metallic, and I just got them from Dick Blick. Can you see these? I love them. They come in little packs like this. If I tip this over, it might spill, so I'm just going to gently tilt it, and really nice. So metallic purple, blue, pink. These aren't that metallic-y. The silver and gold are super, super shiny. Okay, so if you also listen to any of my podcasts, you know that yesterday I was doing a book, you're welcome, Vicki. I was doing a book talk, and based on my book, Draw, Paint, Sparkle. And one of the things I get asked a lot is, why don't you use more pencils when you're drawing? And so I kind of went into the whys of the three whys why I didn't use pencils as much as a lot of people do in the art room. And instead I do a lot of either thick black crayons or oil pastels. And this is one of the lessons where I think a pencil is not the best supply to use, the best medium. I think an oil pastel works really well because it encourages kids to draw nice and big. You want this cat to fill up this 12-inch by 18 sheet of paper. You don't want kids to be drawing a little cat in the corner, because then they won't have as much fun creating the tints and the shades. So the oil pastels just help create, there's something about holding a crayon and an oil pastel in your fingers that you know you kind of have to use big arm movements. You kind of can't get into the little nitty-gritty of a detailed drawing, and we don't want a detailed drawing. We want a nice and big shapes. So I'm going to continue. I was just looking at all the questions. I loved, Vicky says, those metallic oil pastels are super, and they really are. Every art teacher should have one set per table group. So 6 sets in your classroom, and you'll be good. We're going to be using a white sheet of paper, and the sheet of paper looks like this, just 12-inch by 18, and I'll take away my black, and we'll bring that back later. Okay, so we'll put this here. Okay, so we're basically going to use this little guide, and it's in the handout that I showed you. You can click on the link, but right for now, just click or look at this. I'm going to put it right about here. If you have little kids at home, I would say 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. You can use a little plastic container top to trace the head. And I tell you, there's no better trick to help a little bitty kid draw a nice big cat than using a template. It's not cheating. It's just giving them a leg up so that they can fill up their whole paper. So I'm going to do it because I like the templates. I'm going to draw a circle with my oil pastel, just like that. And that's with the template, easy peasy. And then I'm going to draw my little ears. So one ear here and another ear here. Be careful not to draw the ears too big, because then it looks like a different animal. I don't know what kind, but it's just a different one. Okay, then we'll leave the face for now. To put your oil pastel and draw a nice rounded back and go almost to the edge of the paper, but not quite. You're in my way, little kitty. There we go. And then come right down to the bottom of the paper. Easy. Then take this line and go all the way to the bottom of the paper. Now this is the part that I love the most, and every child can do this. Go over and up and down and over, and then up with a bigger hump and down, and then over and up and down, like a little song. And now we have 4 little legs of the kitty. An older child, maybe you, Maria, might want to round out the little feet and do little rounded paws. Who knows? You can kind of make it your own. But for now, I like to keep this nice and simple. Now we're going to do the tail. I like to do the tail kind of freestyle. However much room you have on your paper, go in that direction. So you want to take your tail, do one line. Here's a trick. See how I did that line? The most typical way to finish that tail is to keep going. But if a child does that, if I do that, I tend to get a lopsided tail. So instead, I'm going to start back at the little back end here and try to match up the tail width as more precisely. And that just gives kids a better chance of making a nice even tail rather than a tail that has like a big bump on the end. Okay, so now we can go back to the eyes, do true rainbow lines, then a smile, fill it with a nice kind of skinny eye. You know those cat eyes, they're kind of skinny. And then a triangle and a little kitty cat mouth. That's all you want to do for now. We can add whiskers later. Now this is the fun part, and it's absolutely, children can do anything that they want. It kind of helps to have a few ideas on the whiteboard. So you could draw some zigzag lines or swirly lines. For instance, with this cat, I did just kind of little rounded shapes and filled those in. But maybe I'll do some wavy lines. And the idea is to fill up your cat with as many lines and patterns as you want to. And there goes my oil pastel. There we go. And maybe I'll do some stripes on the tail. And if that's all I do, that's perfect. Now we're ready for painting. So how easy is that? Notice I did not add any whiskers in, and I didn't add any like little toes or anything like that. Not too many details. Yeah, you know, Nicole, I think this is a great project for teachers who can't exactly do a Halloween lesson, but kind of can, you know, move around that limitation. And this little black cat is just perfect. Okay, so now all you're going to need are 2 colors of paint. And if you're just joining me, we're using black tempera paint. And this happens to be Faber-Castell brand, but you can use Crayola. If you can use premium brands like Crayola or Faber-Castell, the premium Artista brand from Crayola, you're going to have a better quality tempera paint. Sometimes the craft store paints for tempera are not that great. You're almost better off to buy craft store acrylic paint rather than craft store tempera paint. I hope I didn't lose you. Okay, so now I'm going to take a medium brush. So this is what a medium brush. Here's my finger. And what you're going to do first, I like to start with the black, which is really counterintuitive to what I normally use. Like, black is powerful, right? It takes over everything. But I'm going to fill in the sections of my cat that I know I want black. So just decide, say, okay, I want, you know, one ear black. I'm going to start at the top of the page and kind of work my way down. And whatever section of your cat you know you want a solid black, just go ahead and fill that right in. This is better to do it this way because your paintbrush is going to get filled with white. It's going to get filled with black. We want to do it in kind of an orderly fashion. So I'm moving down here. I'm painting this little stripe, and I tend to stop talking when I'm painting. That might be a good thing. I find it hard to do the 2 at a time. So you'll have kids in your class, all they can do is talk when they're painting. And then you'll have kids like me who, as soon as they start painting, they stop talking. You probably have more of the former than the latter, but you know, that's just me. Okay. I find that painting takes up a lot of my brain waves. I don't know why. I love to really get into the painting, and I find I do my best work when I'm talking less, which I know is hard for a Facebook Live because you want to kind of hear the instructions. Okay, so I think that's all of the black I want to do. You may notice I left one ear kind of white, and that was on purpose. So now I have this black on my paintbrush. I'm not cleaning my brush. I'm going to dip my paintbrush right here into the white. And so it's a big glob of white and a big glob of black. And I'm going to pick an area on my paint or my kitty cat, and I'm just going to let the paint do what it needs to do. So I'm just painting away. I don't have much water on my brush. I'm going to go back in. I didn't add more black. There's enough black on my brush. I'm just seeing what's going to happen. If you find your paintbrush does get dry a little bit, this is what I do. I kind of did that off camera. Take your water container and take your brush just for a bath. Dip in, dip out. Don't swirl. Don't drag it along the edge. All you want to do is just kind of give it a little bit of moisture. There we go. So this is looking pretty good. I keep on dipping it in the white. And you are creating both a tint and a shade because you're using just white and black. But what's happening is that you're creating tones of blue, different values of black and white. And this is just lovely to see. There's nothing more fun than taking, in my mind, than taking big blobs of white paint and painting them on a surface and just seeing what it does with the other color. And I love all of the different variations here. So that's all you do. And I haven't dipped my paintbrush back in the black yet. There's so much black on my brush that I just don't have to. And any extra black, it's kind of in there already. Can you see that? Susan says, I love your work. Are you talking to me or someone else? Because I tell you, I feel like my name badge should say, hi, I'm Patty, I paint like a kid, because I'm a little messy, like most kids, which I love because I think it has a little bit more expression. Okay guys, I dipped my paintbrush into a little bit of black, just enough to give some dark gray tones, because I just was getting a little bit of white, too much white on my brush, and I want more contrast. I'm going to start painting the face now. And I'm going to paint over the mouth because it's super hard to go around that mouth, but I can still see it a little bit, and I'll come back to it. Okay, just like that. Ooh, got a little crazy there. Okay, now, do you guys get the idea? How all you do is dip your paintbrush in the black and then progressively dip it in the white without cleaning your brush. Again, if your brush gets a little dry, just add a little bit of water to it. Here's something I want you to watch out for, because remember when I said my name is Patty and I paint like a kid? I really do. And I kind of was starting to mix the white together. You're going to have children who do that, who can't resist. It's natural. It's something they do without thinking. They're going to take their paintbrush and they're going to want to naturally swirl it in all that white paint. Let them go at it. It's okay. Just pour more paint for the other kids who want pure white. Paint is a really difficult thing to keep pure when you're working with children. And there's one thing that you can do as a teacher, and that is don't worry too much about that. Because the more you can get a child to feel comfortable engaging with the art supplies in a way that's natural for them, you have a much better chance of teaching them the proper usage of it later on, after they've had a chance to explore. You might feel different than me, and by all means, definitely chime in. But I do love it when kids kind of just naturally do what they're kind of intrinsically meant to do, which is to experiment. Now, it's a little bit annoying as a teacher sometimes, because you have another class coming in and you're going to have to keep the trays really clean, and like, oh gosh, now you have to refill the container, and the kids complain about their neighbor who's always making the paint dirty. But it's just part of art, and if you can get the other children to be accepting of it, then I feel like everyone is kind of like a win-win. So now the reason why I kind of took this painting back was because I wanted to show you how to clean it up. Okay, so maybe I'll do a dark nose. Okay. Maybe I'll put two cheeks. He's looking kind of rather angry. Okay, so now I'm going to take my brush and put it in the water. This painting, I'm going to show it to you up close. If you left it like this, like if this was the end of your class, this should be the end of class 1. If you left it like this, can you see how it's kind of like a hot mess? The lines are all covered, the paint is kind of everywhere. That's perfect. That's what you want. You want a lot of mess going on. This is the end of day 1. You want that to dry completely. And then you want to go back in the next day, the next session, with either a really small brush or a brush kind of like this. And we did this last week with the movement fish. We took a brush that wasn't too small, but small enough that it would deliver a nice fine line. Now, this is not dry, but yet what I'm going to do is take my paint, which has a little bit of water in it, and a brush like this, and I'm going to gently, I'm going to outline all of my little kitty areas, all the lines that I love. So if a child drew a line that they hated, guess what? They could cover it with paint and then they don't have to see it again. And then all the lines that they do like, now he's looking more happy. I think I'll put some eyelashes on him. Much better. Okay, I think she needs a little bit of gold. I'm going to do that in a minute. Now I want to go around the outside and along here. And children are all going to be doing, this is where really the magic happens when children are painting, because everyone's lines are going to look a little different. Now, if this is a completely dry painting, if you are truly coming in the next day or the next week, and you're going to finish this up using an oil pastel, is kind of an easier solution. So feel free to use a little black oil pastel and trace over all of those lines that were hidden from the paint. And more importantly, adding new lines in. So that's the fun that we're going to have. We're going to go around the tail. So number one, this is kind of cleaning up all of the lines, but then in a minute we're going to separate all of those lines so all of the colors look really sharp. And I'm going to go over here. Like I said last week, we did the same kind of technique. I love this technique, and so I do use it a lot. It does help if a child has access to a small container of black paint. These little condom cups are really great to use. So this tracing part really helps where the feet are messy. Okay, now what you get to do, you get to divide up the cat in even more patterns. So if you want to add some stripes here, you can. And this is the part that I think really allows children to kind of create their own piece and really have some fun with it. Now I'm going to put my paintbrush away. Here's my dry cat. And this tail, my goodness, just everywhere. Okay. What you can do now, I'm going to show you how to use that, this beautiful, beautiful gold metallic paint. I love it. Okay, comes in bottles like this, and you just squeeze a little bit of. All you're going to need for a table group of about 3 or 4 kids is this. It's about a teaspoon. It may seem surprising, but there's something about this particular paint that the paintbrush doesn't really let you pick up anymore. It's unless you're doing a really big sheet, use a big paintbrush, but you can use a little small one. And make sure you dry your paintbrush off, so no water on it. I do find that water and this paint, they just don't go together very well. It does not need to be watered down at all. And so now what you can do, you can kind of go over different sections of your cat. Like maybe there's some stripes over here, and maybe the eyes have a little gold spot in them. Oh, I think she needs a little gold nose. This gold works particularly well on black. I really like the look of it. If you're in the Sparklers Club, you'll notice that we did the Egyptian bundle, and we used a lot of gold in the Egyptian bundle because you kind of have to, it's Egyptian art. And oh, this is kind of fun. You can almost make a little jewelry. Maybe I'll make a little bow. So you can see how this adds just to the elegance. I'm going to take it off so you can see. Just with a little extra art supply, the cat went from just black and white to all of a sudden he has a little bit of shimmer. Now if you don't have the gold paint, definitely use the gold oil pastel. I'll show you what that looks like. So the gold oil pastel is here, and this is the gallery, and this has more control. It's a little lighter, but man, the control that you get with this is far better, and quite frankly, looks pretty good. So children can draw better with the oil pastel. So let me show you that. Okay, see, I just did some scribbles, but you can see how pretty she looks. So this is one way that you can really kind of glam up this little black and white cat, huh? Now, the finished product basically looks like this. You put it on some black paper, so cut it out, and you glue it on. I won't do that. And don't worry if it goes off to the edge. And then you can take little flowers that you can pre-make. They're basically just painted paper like this. Want me to show you how to make one of these? I think I will. Okay. Why not? Take little squares of painted paper, colored paper, anything that you have, little scraps, craft paper, and cut them into a size of about, I don't know, 3 by 3 or 4 by 4, nothing too big. Then, I think I'll use this black crayon. What I like to do is draw a circle, just like that. Can you see that? And then just make the bumps around the circle. If you have to give children a little tracer, these little plastic condiment cups, well, look at that, it's almost perfect. That's about the size of the circle. Then, because, and I used to say this to the kids all the time, because it's mostly true, because I'm a little lazy, I would double up the paper. So just like that, and then I would cut it out. So I'm just going to go around, and you don't have to cut out exactly on the line, because oftentimes your scissors will just do beautiful work all on their own, but you kind of just use the oil pastel or crayon lines as just a guide, so you don't make some wobbly flower. So now I have 2 little flowers, and you can put those on. They can go up high, you can layer them, you can put them off to the side. You can make flowers that are a little bit more flowery looking. And one thing that I always like to do, if you're kind of lazy like me, you can pre-cut little containers of circles with a big punch. And I got this big punch at a craft store, and then the kids could put that in. Whenever you do this, though, I have to give you a little warning. It always looks a little bit too perfect. It's almost always better for a child to learn how to cut out a circle, because it will serve them so well. Learning how to move like your arm and not your cutting hand, it's just such a valuable skill. But if if you need a shortcut, there you go. If you're a newsletter subscriber, you already have this, so you don't have to download it again. We sent the email out today, so just go ahead and check your inbox. It's about, actually you have 2 handouts there, so you can download both of them. But if you're not a newsletter subscriber, you can download this by going to the blog. And once again, it has that little mini poster that are now becoming part of a collection. So that's kind of cool, and you can access the other videos and the other handouts on the blog as well. They're all connected. And then, of course, there's the little kitty cat drawing guide. Now, and even this little cat, you can use this as a drawing guide, but you can also use it as a little coloring page where little kids could, fill it in with any kind of pattern that you want, or little Zentangles. So Lana said the leaf didn't download. The cat was on both buttons on the email. So go ahead. That was an oops today. So there was a new email that was sent to you with the correct links. So we have an email that says, oops, we made a mistake. That's the one that you want to open. We're training someone to do all the newsletters and put the links in, and we just kind of missed that. Double check. Doesn't happen often. It happened today, but we resent it immediately, and so you'll have that for you. So it's in your inbox. Go ahead and download the second one that says oops. Okay guys, I'm gonna let y'all go do ballet and get your dinner ready and do all the fun things with your kids. And thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you not next week and not the week after. We're taking a 2-week hiatus, but I'll see you in 3 weeks, because next week I'm going to Peru. I'm gonna hike to Machu Picchu. So that's big. So no Facebook Live next week. Okay guys, you guys have an awesome day. Keep creating. I hope to see pictures of this black glamorous cat in the Facebook group or on this Deep Space Oracle page. Have a great day.